What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing good. I'm Anthony K. Thomas, and welcome to Wrestling with Rumors. Welcome, everyone. So, before we get into everything, that is a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. Like I say every week, every rumor that I'm about to read to you is exactly what it is. It is a rumor. We can speculate as wildly as we want, but until that rumor is proven fact, true by the person, company, or promotion the rumor is about, they remain what they are, rumors that we can speculate wildly on. So, with all of that, let's get into a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. According to WrestleVotes, WWE is still waiting to figure out the true severity of her injury and whether or not she will have to miss SummerSlam because of it. If that is the case, a lot of other plans are likely to change as well. Indeed, there was apparently talk of doing a Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill match, which makes sense given the booking on television, but that would likely be changed if Ripley can't go. So, based on what we saw this past Friday on SmackDown, as Charlotte Flair was about to go and get into gorilla position before heading out to the ring, she ran into Jade Cargill, B-Fab, and Michin. And what happened in that scenario was that they attacked Charlotte Flair as she walked past them. They hit her in the knee, and that took Charlotte Flair out. Now, Charlotte Flair put up a hell of a match against Liv Morgan. Essentially it's like playing a one-on-one basketball game and giving that person 10 points to start, and all they have to do is score one more point to win. So it felt like that's what they were doing with a Charlotte Flair versus Liv Morgan, giving Liv Morgan 10 points to start with, and all she has to do is score one to win. Charlotte Flair, even on one leg, went toe-to-toe with Liv Morgan. No surprise. Charlotte Flair is one of the best to do what she does inside that squared circle, and will go down and will be a first ballot Hall of Famer one day, long from now. But had Charlotte Flair not had the be hopping on one knee through that entire match, she would have won that match. But Liv Morgan won that match, and I think because of what happened, what's going on with Rhea Ripley, with Rhea Ripley's knee injury, it seems like they're starting to put Plan B into motion, feeling that without them actually saying it, that Rhea Ripley might not be able to make it to SummerSlam, and that her knee is more injured than was originally thought, and that Rhea Ripley is going to need a significant amount of time to rehab her knee before she can come back. If that's the case, and Rhea Ripley can't defend her title at SummerSlam, then she will have to relinquish the title and begin some kind of tournament that will take us into SummerSlam, depending on who will win in the finals of the Queen of the Ring, which honestly, it's Liv Morgan and Io Sky. So, for that match, I will say, off the trail for a little bit, for that match, Io Sky versus Liv Morgan is essentially what you would call an eliminator match. It's a non-title match. Whoever wins becomes Queen of the Ring. Yes, absolutely. But it being a non-title match, if Io Sky wins, then Io Sky gets a second match with Liv Morgan with the women's world title on the line. I feel that in a scenario like this, I feel that putting so much more on the line makes sense. I mean, if Liv Morgan, who is the women's world champion, who has yet to defend her championship yet, every other champion in WWE, be it on Raw or SmackDown or on NXT, have more title defenses than she has. I feel that in a scenario like this, a Queen of the Ring finals match, there should be more on the line. Considering Liv Morgan is a finalist in it, and she's the women's world champion, it should be a Queen of the Ring finals match for the WWE Women's for the Women's World Championship. If Io Sky wins, not only does she become Queen of the Ring, but she wins the Women's World Championship. Granted, the winner of King and Queen of the Ring go on to face the respective champions from at SummerSlam. But in a scenario like this, in a case like this, that feels that WWE creative kind of shot themselves in the foot on this. It makes sense to, in order to dig themselves out of this, is to just put the Women's World title on the line at Night of Champions, because it is Night of Champions. For the most part, the name of it means every championship should be on the line. So just put the Women's World Championship on the line. If Liv Morgan wins, she retains her Women's World Championship and becomes Queen of the Ring. Same thing for Io Sky. Io Sky wins, she becomes the Women's World Champion and becomes Queen of the Ring. Then going on to SummerSlam, then you would set up a tournament in which we decide who is going to be the number one contender for the Women's World Championship, whether it's going to be, once again, Liv Morgan or someone else. I would think on someone else. Getting back on track, looking at what they're doing Plan B wise, and it seems that it does feel that without them announcing it, that Rhea Ripley is not going to be able to defend her championship. And doing what they did with Charlotte Flair, it'll probably be announced this coming Friday on SmackDown that Charlotte Flair will have to be out for a while. I feel that a tournament sometime in July will probably be announced, something to determine either a tournament or just a fatal four-way match to determine who will be it would have to be a tournament, because it would have to be a tournament to decide or you do a fatal four-way, and the winner of that fatal four-way match becomes the WWE Women's Championship. There's a lot to figure out in that, but I feel like just doing a fatal four-way at Night of Champions would probably work, or somewhere on the way to SummerSlam, or even at SummerSlam. I'm really just kind of thinking off the top of my head. I didn't really just sit down and just think about it for a minute. I'm freestyling on this, and off that, it feels like that makes sense. But I feel that you give me a little bit more time to think about how to weave around that, just based on what's going on. Yeah, but it does feel like, and I know I've been talking on this for a minute, but it does feel like they're moving on with Plan B when it comes to Charlotte Flair. When it comes to Rhea Ripley, and the possibility that she will be out longer, that she won't make it to SummerSlam. And I know I took the scenic route with this one, but there's just so much going on when it comes to both WWE championships for the women, on SmackDown and on Raw. And it's an interesting situation when you look at the Queen of the Ring finals, and you have Liv Morgan, Women's World Champion, going up against Io Sky. That should basically be a Women's World title match, but it's not. Rhea Ripley seeming to be more injured than originally thought with her knee, having to possibly have to relinquish the championship. It's a crappy situation to be in for WWE and creative, but it feels like it feels like they're stuck, and they are having a much more difficult time trying to figure out how they are going to get out of this situation and get themselves to SummerSlam and then move on with the rest of the year. So it'll be curious what they do on their end. On our end, all we can do is speculate, which is what I kind of did on that, going further with this rumor than I probably should have. But we're going to move on, I promise you. So TC of WrestleVote says Stephanie Booker is on her way back and getting close to a return to WWE, but she isn't ready just yet. I feel that a way out of this, as far as the Women's World title, would be Stephanie Booker is most likely going to be that answer. Oh my God, there it is. So there is a scenario in which you get to the finals of the Queen of the Ring, And it is possible we are in a situation where Liv Morgan wins Queen of the Ring. She's not going to shut up about it, but she wins. And then Stephanie Booker comes back and we set up the WrestleMania rematch at SummerSlam. Stephanie Booker versus Liv Morgan for that championship. Oh, and, there could be a turn. Raquel Rodriguez. I really want Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez to turn on Liv based on how Liv is treating them as of late. I feel a turn is coming. But Stephanie Booker, absolutely, I feel that will be that answer at probably SummerSlam. Probably. Fightful Select notes the common belief when it comes to Tessa Blanchard's situation is that CMLL wanted her to make a choice between them and TNA, and because CMLL pays better and books her more often, that's the option she went with. Same scenario. I feel that there was something else that they said about like TNA having Tessa making that same choice between them and CMLL, especially since TNA is on the WWE side and since WWE owns AAA Lucha Libre, and that's their competition with CMLL. It was her kind of being pulled this way and her being pulled this way. And at the end of it, Tessa Blanchard was granted her release from TNA and chose CMLL. So that is where she will end up, and best of luck to her. She was being paid better over there. She was being booked more often. She seems like she was having a good time and liking being over there. So I feel that is the best fit for her. Be where you like, and that's where she wants to be. So good for her. WrestleVotes Radio heard heard there are people in WWE who are pushing for Chad Gable to be featured in a major way at SummerSlam, which takes place in his hometown of Minneapolis, Minnesota. After the mask versus mask match, a lot of new eyes looked at both Ludwig Kaiser and Chad Gable in a way that they never looked at them before. And the truth is, they've always been like that. They've always been excellent professional wrestlers inside that squared circle. They've always been able to give you the best in matches. And it's sad that it took, it's not sad. It's common that it takes a match like this and a booker like Undertaker to really show you what they really have and really look at the potential of what they could do moving forward. It's not a surprise to those who have seen Chad Gable when he got his start in WWE through NXT or Ludwig Kaiser through NXT UK. It's not a surprise, but it's great to finally see them getting that kind of recognition that they richly deserve. And for Chad Gable, I could see a situation for Chad Gable where we get to SummerSlam and it's Penta versus Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship, and Chad Gable finally gets that Intercontinental Championship win that he was looking for last year and came close multiple times, especially against Gunther when Gunther was holding the Intercontinental Championship. So as much as I have enjoyed Penta being a fighting champion for the Intercontinental Championship, I feel as we get into SummerSlam and begin to put the summer in our rear view and begin to look ahead at for fall and winter, I feel that Chad Gable is that fit for the Intercontinental Championship. Absolutely. I feel Chad Gable versus Penta will give us one hell of a match, but I feel that when the smoke clears on that match at SummerSlam, if it gets made official, it'll be Chad Gable. Absolutely. I feel that will happen. And I feel that Chad Gable will make a good WWE or world champion one day if given the opportunity. Absolutely. But as far as we're looking in the mid-card for Chad Gable, Intercontinental Championship, the Workhorse Championship, it works for Chad Gable to hold on to have that championship. The time is now. So I hope they capitalize on it. Absolutely. F4W Online's Dave Meltzer indicates that Road Dogg is most likely joining TNA's creative team following the release of Tommy Dreamer. He thinks Dogg will probably make the same money, if not more, than Dreamer. I think Road Dogg going back to TNA, being part of creative, it works. I think it'll be a good fit for him. He's very familiar with TNA. He was a talent with TNA for a while. He's familiar with how things work backstage at TNA. I feel TNA for Road Dogg being part of the creative, being part of that creative team will be a good fit for Road Dogg. And a few things that I want to touch on really quick before I call it on this week's episode of Wrestling with Rumors. First, a quick update to CW Sports and when they'll be featured on the ESPN app. Sadly, there hasn't been an exact date. I have been constantly checking to see when some release date will come. I was hoping it was going to come before the Great American Bash, which is this Sunday, but it's not. Because once CW Sports goes live on the ESPN app, for WWE fans like myself, we'll be able to, and who live here on the West Coast, instead of having to wait till 8 p.m. To watch NXT on the CW network, it will be live. It will be live through CW Sports on ESPN. On the ESPN app, so I'll be able to watch it. I'll be able to watch NXT live 5 p.m. my time when it airs live 8 p.m. everywhere else live. So I'm really looking forward to having that, being able to watch NXT live instead of being on the lag and waiting a few hours before 8 p.m. to watch it. So I am looking forward to having that, but. As far as an estimate, it feels like sometime between the end of this month, June, and the end of August is a best estimate I can give for when CW Sports will start to air their sports, including everything NXT through the ESPN app. Bronson Reed is someone I want to talk about really quick. Now, even though we're not expecting Bronson Reed back until sometime between July and September, Bronson Reed has taken advantage of this time off and his rehab. He has lost over 120 pounds, and how he looks now, holy crap, dude. He is swole. He is buffed. He is buffed up. He is ready to come back. Those tsunamis are going... If you thought a tsunami from Bronson Reed before he got injured was painful, wait until he comes back. Holy cow, dude. I'm trying not to cuss. We are going to get a very different, very upgraded Bronson Reed once he comes back. Wow, right? I am just... The amount of weight he lost, how he looks now, how he's been killing it in the gym and getting rehab and getting ready to come back. Damn, dude. Damn. He might, honestly, when you think about it, and I'm also going to bring this up during a prediction episode for Night of Champions, which look out for later on this week. I feel that he might be the key. He might be he might be one of those answers of stopping Seth Rollins in this feud that's going on between Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. Wow, it's interesting. I'm stuttering. Bronson Reed, when he comes back, is gonna be that monster, as Booker T would say. But watch out for him. Now, Tatum Paxley is not done with NXT yet. It was believed a week ago. It was about a week ago when Tatum Paxley had a match for her women's North American Championship, in which she lost that match, and after that match was over, because she lost to Zarya, so Zarya became the new women's NXT North American champion. It was believed that what happened after the cameras were off, her saying goodbye to the NXT crowd, that she was done with NXT and she was headed off to the main roster. That is not the case, as this past week on NXT, she popped up during a main event tag match with Zarya, part of that tag match. And it was Zarya, it was Zarya and Jordan. And during that match, Tatum Paxley pops up from nowhere, ringside, and goes right after Zarya. So that tells us right there she's not done. And I feel that Zarya versus Tatum Paxley one more time will happen this Saturday. It hasn't been confirmed yet because it is Sunday. So we have to wait till Tuesday to see whether or not that gets confirmed. But pardon me, it feels that this coming Tuesday on NXT we'll get a confirmed rematch for the Women's North American Championship at the Great American Bash. But we'll look out for that. Finally, one last thing, Mike Santana versus Nick Nemeth this Sunday at Slammiversary could possibly tell us, when this match is over, what is possibly next for Mike Santana with his contract set to end in the middle of July. And there is belief that Mike Santana will sign with WWE. There is word going on that WWE is very interested in Mike Santana and wants him on the main roster before the end of the year, somewhere between SmackDown and Raw. If that is the case and he does sign with WWE, I've said this a few times already, that I feel that SmackDown would be a good fit for Mike Santana. But again, this is all in speculation. None of this is really confirmed. If and when Mike Santana's contract ends in mid-July, if he doesn't resign, which I think he will, and he does sign with WWE, and he shows up, he makes a surprise. He shows up at SummerSlam, or we see him sometime between September and October. If he shows up in September, sometime between September and October, he could be someone that they want to add into the Money in the Bank match, possibly. But I will generally be surprised if I see Mike Santana show up in WWE. Not in a bad way, but in a very good way. In a good way. Absolutely in a good way. But I feel that he will resign with TNA. But I love it. But if I'm proven wrong on this, great. Because the feeling of being surprised in professional wrestling, especially these days, is very hard and very rare to obtain. So, if he resigns, good. If he doesn't resign with TNA and he comes to WWE and he shows up and we see him on Raw or SmackDown, holy cow, I will be shocked and I will be happily surprised to see him there as well. Mike Santana is a hell of a talent, brings value to any roster that he is a part of. And so look forward to see what happens between sometime between July and September when it comes to Mike Santana. But that is where I end it for now. I am Anthony K. Thomas, and this has been Wrestling with Rumors. Appreciate all you for watching. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all new episodes of Wrestling with Rumors, my short of Rumor of the Day, and everything else that drops here on this Wrestling with Rumors channel. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up, leave a comment. It all helps. I appreciate the views, and hope all you have a good, fun, and safe week. Don't forget to take care of yourselves, and I will see you here next Sunday for a whole new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. In the meantime and in between time, don't forget to take care of yourselves. Peace, y'all.